Okay, let's see how to handle that complex element date picker. Let me first get that CSS selector. So that is an ID, date of birth input. All right. I'm just going to store it as an alias. Now let's just name it as DOB. Now guys, here if you see this date picker, it has got a lot of other actions to perform. So you have to click first, then you have to select the date, the month from the drop down, then you have to select the year from the drop down, and after doing that you have to select the date. All right. So this entire thing involves 4 to 5 steps. If I have to write all these 4 to 5 steps in here, so my code would look a bit messy. So let's just create a method for inputting into date of birth. Enter DOB, and I'm going to pass my date of birth in here. So my date of birth, I'm just reading it from form.data. Let me just check the variable. Form.json file. My date of birth, I'm separating it through space. You can separate it by a pipe sign, a comma, or anything you wish. Okay. So since I have created this method, I have to use this as well so that it refers to the right method within the class. Okay. And in here, let's just create that method. It is accepting one parameter, which is, let's call it DOB. Now from DOB, I need to get the month. And so that would be DOB.split by space, and the month would be my first index. My year is at the last, so that will be second index, and my date is at the beginning, so it will be 0th index. Okay, now the first step in here is I just need to click that element. All right, so as soon as you go over here, you have to first click the date of birth, then it will pop up this date picker. So I have to do cy.get @dob, which is my alias dot click. Okay, so hopefully that's done. Once I click that, I have to select something. So I just need to do cy.get. So I haven't stored it alias for that. Let's just see what is the CSS selector. So that is the month selector. Okay, so just paste it here. And since it is a select element, so I have to use select method. Okay, I cannot type into it. And select what? So that's my month. And let me quickly do it for year as well. So what's my element selector for year? So that is my class. Okay. And after doing this, I have to click on the day. Okay, let's just run this first. Let's see whether it is working or not. It should hopefully work. So it has selected January 1989. So now let's just go to the day. How am I going to select the day? So it's just giving me this class. So dot means class, hash means ID. So I've already covered in one of my previous videos as well. So if you're selecting 17, it is amending 0, prepending 0 to it. Okay. And if you select anything else, let's say, now what about this is 2? So if I select 2, it is actually appending 2 zeros. And if I select a double digit, it is appending 1 0. So I cannot, just dynamically say something like this. That is, I think, as one of the complex elements. Right, so what if I just need to do dcy.get, right? So I really don't know about these two variables, right? If it is a singular digit, I might have to write a logic. If the digit is a single one, then you add 1 0. If it is a 2 digit, then you don't add a 0. So that will be something if else. Okay. So is it a really good way to handle that? I don't think so, guys. So even if you, though you can do it, but we have a simpler way, and that is our XPath. If you open over here, and let's say if I select this 29, right? So if you see, okay, let me just select that first. So it has a text, right? So it is a div that has a text equal to exact date that you follow. So if I just do like div text equal to 29, it will just give me one element, right? Which in a way is, I think, for this particular page, right, is the best way to handle it is using XPath. Okay. Even if I have to pass 2, it will still give me one element. Now this 2, this additional element is coming from here because we have 1 and 2. So we have a second date from next month also, right? But from current month, it's this 2. So we can say like you get me first element and select it. So that's another way. So let's just do it through XPath, and we will also end up covering how to install XPaths. All right. So first of all, I just want to cover like how we install XPath. So npm has this document. All you need to do is just fire this command. Okay, so let's just go to our terminal. My test terminal is running, so you just have to stop it, press Ctrl C and say Y. It will stop, and press this. And remember to do save them. What this will do, as I've covered in my previous session, this will save the dependency in your cypress.json, in package.json file. So once you do it, it will start the installation. It should be quick, and the XPath will be installed, guys. So it has installed. So if you look at your cypress.json, sorry, package.json, it will have this additional dependency. Would be there, yeah. So that's the dependency version of XPath. So now we have XPath, but how we can use that XPath? If you see, they have given example also. So you generally we do cy.get, but if we have to use an XPath, we have to do cy.xpath and then pass in your element. That is what I'm going to do it. Right? Though you can handle it using if-else logic also, but let's just do it with the XPath. cy.xpath. Sorry guys, before that you have to also include it in your index.js. So this I forgot. You have to do this. Go to cypress/support/index.js and add this over here. Right, so which means it requires XPath now. Let me just go in here. So see, so now you're getting the IntelliSense cy.xpath. So what was our XPath? Div text equal to. So over here we have to just use double quotes now, so that we can just concatenate these two, or you can just use backtick operator, guys. So I have also covered in the previous element as well. So this is where backtick really helps you. Div text equal to. So over here you just need to have these, and your element would be, let me just minimize this thing so that you guys can see it properly. What we are using it as date, right? So that will be like, so cy dot get this date, and I think that's a click operation. Okay, now it will select that date also, and that is how we have automated our date picker. Just save it, and you have to just reopen your npx cypress open because we closed it. Okay guys, so over here if you would see, it has given me can only be called on a single element, but your subject contain 2 elements. So how you can get rid of this situation? Nothing is, so over here you just have to use .eq 0th .click. Now what is this? So I have heard a similar type of element in here when we were selecting our gender. Okay, so over there when we were returning multiple elements, right? we used a dynamic XPath and it returned us a single element. We could have also have done that, using dot equal 0, right, which actually extracts the first element. So it's like dot get 0th element of Selenium. So in Cypress you have dot eq 0, and if you need to interact with the first element, you could have done 0 1. If you know there are 3 elements, you could have done 0 2. So since it will be your first element, because over here once you open that, right, so you always need to select for the current month, it will always be the first one. Okay, the next list, this one, though it populates into it, but that it comes at second index, right, or first index, and this one comes at 0th index. If you will save it, it would hopefully work now. And in case, guys, if it returns a single element, that will also not cause any problem, because anyways it will have one element and it will select that first element. Okay, this was quite a complex element that we have just scripted now, and we have covered important concepts of XPath, right, of handling multiple elements. We have covered this new method .eq0. Okay, so these methods, as we progress through, guys, I will cover these methods more, right? I will cover different methods. So these are some common methods that we use in automation for Cypress. Now hopefully it should have selected the, yeah, so 2nd Jan 1989 has been selected, guys, and we have successfully automated the date picker.